Welcome to the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show, a broadcast service of globalbusinessnews.net.
Now, here's your host, Ed Cohen.
Hi, this is Ed Cohen, your broadcast host on Global TV Talk Show. This is a business unit of globalbusinessnews.net. Want to encourage you all to go have a look. It's brand new, just updated over the holiday. And you'll find links and good information, tips, and it's actually pretty exciting. I enjoy doing it. Google Analytics has been tracking our readership, our audience, since the site began in 2003. And according to Google Analytics and their wisdom and algorithms, they say 1.2 million reader audience page views, as they call it, including this year, this crazy year, over 75,000 between January 1 and December 10 from over 100 countries, including approximately 65% US, Canada, Mexico, Brazil, about 25% Europe, 9% Asia Pacific, 1% Mideast Africa. So thank you all for tuning in. Our special guest today is from Luxembourg, so we're live in Luxembourg today. Let's say hi and welcome to Stéphane Compain. Hello.
Hi, Ed. Thanks for the invitation. I'm really happy to be on the show and to have a discussion with you today.
Yeah, well, thanks very much. Ending the year and looking forward to what I'm calling Lucky 21. Because 20, glad it's over. So Brexit, about a year ago, Luxembourg benefited from a lot of incoming. And now what's Brexit going to mean to you? Are people going to pick up and go back to London?
Well, not really. I mean, Luxembourg picked up mainly from the fund and the insurance industry, where companies that didn't have operation in Luxembourg decided to open operations or to increase the number of staff they have in Luxembourg. But it hasn't been huge numbers. But yeah, Brexit has an impact, especially in the past 3-4 months, where suddenly, you see companies that realize that on 31st, in 2 days, their staff would need a work permit to come and work in Luxembourg. They are from the UK, and we've seen an increase of demands from people wanting to. I mean, actually, I helped somebody this morning just to register in Luxembourg to have a simpler way to have a residence permit and avoid a work permit. So yeah, we had a rush in the past 3 months.
So what is this going to cost? This work permit?
Well, it depends, but I mean, it will. I would say that in percentage of a relocation, it will increase by around 20-25%.
Yeah, but in terms of euro, how much?
Well, I would say between 2,000 and 3,000 euro. Maybe more if people are choosing to work with lawyers, where the fees are much higher. But it's not only the cost in terms of euros; it's also the time they are going to lose, because until the 31st, you are from the UK. You can just relocate to Luxembourg and start to work right away. Having to request a work permit, you have to gather a certain number of documents, then you have to apply, and the process can take 6 to 8 weeks, even more sometimes, which will delay all the arrivals of people coming from the UK. And for companies to plan that is a bit of a hassle, because if you want to have a specialist in a certain sector and want the guy to start, or the woman to start right away, now they will have to wait to have a work permit and expect that it's granted, because it's not sure that they will accept all the work permits from people coming from the UK. We don't know.
So it's a whole new administrative process
Yeah,
all over again. So
exactly.
that guesstimate of 2,000, 3,000 euros, that's per person. Is that correct?
Yeah, per person, yes, or per family. Depends. It depends. Maybe some relocation or immigration firm might charge different fees depending on what are their internal process. But yeah, I would say that it's 2 to 3,000 euros per person or per family if it's done at the same time.
So does this normally have to be paid up front, or is there a pay plan available?
Well, normally in our case, we are working mainly with corporate accounts or with partners worldwide, which means that we invoice at each big step of the process. And for private individuals, we ask, a deposit to start the process.
Yeah. So is there any risk of being denied?
Well, I'm touching wood. I have some wood on my table. For the moment, I didn't have any rejections. I had sometimes requests for extra paperwork, but I never had. If it's done properly and the person has all the paperwork and the purpose is to come to Luxembourg and work in Luxembourg is correct, there shouldn't be any issues.
Okay, that's good information. So let's talk about the new year. Are you, I know you probably are as an entrepreneur, I know I am, but to what extent are you goal setting differently as you look at 21? For me, I'm just looking at January. I can't even see beyond January 31 right now, but what about you? Are you fortunate enough to be able to telescope into February?
Well, I think in our industry, the mobility industry, relocation business, it's always a bit difficult to have forecasts on what's going to happen in 12 months' time. I think it's always been like that. You're not on a production line where you have a contract with somebody, that is going to buy your cans, and that you have to produce 10,000 cans per month or whatever. In our case, it's more difficult. You have to rely on how many people will move between subsidiaries, how many people the companies will hire all year long. And it's very difficult, you start in November, December to contact your HR saying, okay, what are your plans for next year? I must say that for 2021, it's a bit difficult to know what's going to happen. The trend, at least for us, is that it's not business as usual, but our main customers are continuing to move their staff around and to hire new staff. So, while we are pretty confident, we had. Again, it's not been the same for everybody, but in Luxembourg, we didn't have a formal lockdown where people were not allowed to go out, which means that we still had a pretty good year despite the pandemic. We are not complaining compared to other colleagues worldwide, and we've been very active in supporting our customers. Reaching out to new ones, using Zoom a lot, or all the new video conference tools to be closer to potential and existing customers. So, yeah, interesting enough, I saw that this morning the news that JP Morgan acquired a company that is specialized in, I don't know if it's analysis of travel trends, or it's linked to the travel industry. And the article was saying that they are quite confident that middle of 2021, the travel industry will start to grow again, which is a good sign when such a company decide to do that.
Yeah. So we have a couple of guests in the background, and I invite you to click in and join the conversation if you wish, or you could just send a chat if you want to remain invisible. But we welcome you all to participate. Okay, so I wanted to ask you about the personal side of taking care of people as a result of a recruitment and relocation, international in particular. It's an emotional time, isn't it? So I know you have personal experience from your own life of being, a third country kid, or what's the right word for that? The right phrase?
I don't know. I was my father used to work for a French international bank. I was born in the UK. Then he moved to Djibouti on the Red Sea, then Thailand, Switzerland. And my father was born in Hanoi, my mother in Madagascar, my brother in Djibouti, and my sister in Thailand, which means that the international world has been, part of my life, most of my life. And it's kind of funny that I ended up in the moving and relocation industry. And I think, it's I didn't move abroad far away. Mainly stay in Europe, but I'm kind of an expatriate working for expatriates.
Yeah, so our background guest, Maryann, I welcome you to join us, even though you're in holiday mode. We all are of some kind. So come on in and join us. So Maryann is based in San Francisco. Hi there.
Good morning.
Looks like you're in Tahiti, but I know you're in San Francisco.
In my mind, I'm always at the beach.
Yeah, so Maryann, Hrichak is an HR leader and an expert in mobility stuff, and works for an international company in the Bay Area. Meet Stéphane Compain in
Hello,
Luxembourg.
Stefan.
Hi, Maryann.
Happy holidays to you.
Yeah, you too.
Do you know Pico Iyer? Have you read Pico Iyer? You should work. He talks about, he is British Indian, grew up in England of Indian parents, is now married to a Japanese woman, talks about being a global nomad and splits his time between California and Japan. He's a really amazing writer. I suggest you just
I'll put it on my reading list
for you.
Yeah, that's cool. So how long, Stéphane, have you been involved in the relocation industry? I know first you started out as a kid, but professionally.
Professionally, I started first in the moving industry about 27 years ago, working for a French company called AGS, now a global player. I think that most of my career I worked more on the removal side, and it's been about 10 years that I started doing relocation as well. And I've been working in Luxembourg for the past 20 years, enjoying the country. Like a lot of people in Luxembourg, you come for a 2 or 3 year assignment, and then you look back and you've been staying 20 years plus. It's amazing. It's the case of a lot of people. It's a great country to work and to live because it's very international. Of course, the weather is not as nice as Hawaii or San Francisco, but it's a great place to do business.
So your background, Stéphane, and your current experience is helping relocatees find a school for the kids, spouse assistance, and all things personal, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we are. It starts with. I think it's quite wide. So we are doing a big part in-house, and for more specific things like spousal assistance, we have partnership. But we offer a global solution to our clients. It goes from the immigration part, work permits, home search, school search, and all the administrative part when you arrive in Luxembourg, including your social security, insurance, banks, and so on.
So when you have a family, I mean now homeschooling, Zoom schooling, this is what's happening. even in Luxembourg. Is this correct?
Yeah, so it's been for a while, but they started school a bit later than normal. But they had physical classes in Luxembourg until holiday Christmas. We went on a full, kind of a lockdown on the 26th until I think the around the 15th. What they want is that everybody that has been away, living with family, even school is starting a bit 1 week later, to be sure that people are tested, and when they go back to school or to work, they can just contain any extra spreading of the virus.
So you're a family-owned business, and so you totally understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've set up the business 4 years ago with my wife. I lost my job 5 years ago working for a big corporation. Didn't know what I wanted to do. Thought it was maybe time to change sector. Started to do a kind of work with a transition coach, and ended up saying, well, I love what I'm doing in the mobility industry. And if I cannot find a new job, let's create one. And it's how we decided to set up our own business. And we are having fun.
Well, that's it.
That's the point.
Yeah, it's not work. It's not work. You love it.
Yeah. And sometimes that's the difficult part, is to sometimes we still have a daughter at home, and sometimes say, just cut it off. I know more about your business than you. I hear everything you're saying every day. So yeah, it's a bit the difficulty of working with your wife, and business is at home most of the time.
Yeah, I get it. So Maryann, why don't you tell Stéphane a little bit about yourself and the company that you're involved with now?
So Stéphane, I'm really more focused on immigration than I am on moving people. I move people around the world for my company, but I deal with the legal aspects of getting people visas and making sure they're compliant with their status and stuff like that. And I now work for a French company that does procurement software. It's called Ivalua. Yeah. And they are based in Redwood City. I don't know how well you know the Bay Area or not, but since the pandemic, I've been working from home, and I love not commuting, because commuting adds 3 hours to my day. So I don't ever want to go back to the office, ever.
Yeah. So
I think it's the case for a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, especially where you are, Redwood City area is right near the airport, San Francisco airport. And it's a nightmare most of the time.
It's further south. It's south of the airport, but it's still, the traffic is just, it's not worth it. If I can do my job and not, if they had an office in San Francisco, great, but they don't, and they probably never will. So
I think it's something that is interesting, and a lot of companies that were always saying, especially big corporations, saying it's impossible for us to work remotely. It will never happen. And suddenly, in 1 week, they all had to switch to home working, and basically, it's working pretty well. We've done a mix for the past 4 years. The interesting thing, of course, it's the chance to be your own boss. Is that instead of leaving at 6:30 in the morning to be at 7:30 or 8 in the office. Now, if I'm going to the office, I can just decide to leave, at 9 and work, and work 1 hour from home, and I don't have any traffic, no stress, and basically you are more efficient.
Yep, exactly.
Me too, right here. This is the dining room table.
Ed, where are you located physically?
Downtown San Diego, California.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah. So you're at the beach all the time.
Well, I'm when I can. Yeah, it's about 3 miles from here, Mission Beach.
Nice.
We used to live there. We had some properties there. We lived in one of them for about 10 years. And then we decided, well, we need to go into the city and be cool. And so now the city's become a ghost town.
Yeah. Yeah.
and so we're still here. So yeah. So let's talk about this reinvention thing that we were all just talking about. There's so many people that have been forced into reinvention and doing things a little different under stress now.
Yeah.
So I saw in today's, which is December 29, folks, here we are today, December 29. In the ft.com, President Macron, gave this big long talk in writing about the need to reinvent. And I thought it was a really cool article because it mirrors exactly what's going on in the relocation industry, how the old ways just aren't cutting it, not working. Everything is different, whether we like it or not, and we've got to create something new. So let's talk about immigration. Let's talk about corporate relo, virtual assignments. Where are they going? I think that people who have commandeered themselves to look at the green light and not the monitor are going to be able to communicate better, including me. But it takes a certain amount of media training to be able to be comfortable in front of the camera, because after all, it's almost like Hollywood. Are you ready for your close-up? And people are not only looking at you and listening to you, but if the cat or the dog or the kid or the spouse walks around, or there's the other phone ringing, or something crazy happens, like the internet cuts out or freezes in the middle of whatever you're trying to say, then you're not communicating and you're wasting people's time. So there's a lot of pressure. So with that in mind, and what President Macron was talking about today, about the tragedy of COVID and the inability to make things work faster, better for so many people, and so many people seriously medically impacted or dead. Crazy to even think about all this, but we are all connected to the people business, and so we're definitely impacted by this. How, Stéphane, from your point of view, a successful guy in the relo business in a wealthy area, so you have resources and means to make things happen. How would you change the mobility business? Just one or two things.
Well, I think, of course, like everybody else, pandemic arrives, lockdown is set up on most countries in Europe, in Luxembourg. And during 1 week, I think like most people, I was like, wow, I'm in the mobility business. People are not allowed to travel anymore. What's going to happen with my business? And you have two options. And some people decided, to dig their head in the sand, and we decided that, we needed to be visible and to maybe get new customers during this time where, kind of free time. And we already decided to reinvent ourselves. We are more online. I'm started to get out of my comfort zone, doing webinars, doing talks like we are doing today, because I was not at all at ease doing such things, to be in front of my computer, being interviewed and having discussions. And for me, it was not natural at all. And I had to get out of my comfort zone. And I think it's important to be able to reinvent yourself, to reach out to customers that are, not that you are not able to meet at networking events. And during those past, nearly 1 year, I was able to meet so many interesting people on a global basis in the immigration field, in the relocation field, and I think it enables also to be, in a way, which is surprising, closer to your customers. I had discussions with, HR people where they were in their kitchen, in sweaters, and I was just with a sweater on me and in my living room, and basically there is more exchange. There is it's totally different. You are getting closer to your customers or to your suppliers. I mean, if I had gone to their office, you would have ended up in a meeting room, very formal on one side. You would have talked only about business, and for me this was a great improvement, and I don't want this to disappear. Of course, like everybody else, I'm missing in-person, relationship. But now I have so many people I really want to meet in person worldwide that, I don't know if I will have enough time to travel so much. But this is one part. The other part, in terms of reinventing yourself, we were able to do virtual home search with our customers. We in some countries, suddenly, when it was not possible, a lot of the processes in terms of immigration went online. When a lot of countries or government bodies would say, "Oh no, it's impossible. It's all only on paper. You need to go physically to the immigration office, or you need to go physically to the town hall." Suddenly, everything was possible, or nearly everything was possible online. Which for me is a great improvement. Of course, you need to have rules, processes, but you can. We all see what kind of improvement we have with the new technologies that we can use on a day-to-day basis now that we didn't use before.
Yeah. So Maryann, in your role, obviously you're using video all the time, and are you feeling more and more comfortable? I mean, you look to me like you're very comfortable.
Yeah. I'm fine. I love to talk, and I like to see people. But one thing I'll tell you, during this whole transformation, if you want to call it that, I work with a lot of people whose native language is not English. So to get some things get lost in translation.
Right.
I've had people repeatedly tell me how well I communicate. I'm like, well, English is my native language. It's easy for me. So I have to make sure that what I'm trying to communicate gets across to the person that I'm trying to communicate it to. And sometimes it takes a while to get that going back and forth. So that's been probably the most challenging part.
Yeah, I totally agree, because to be in front of a person is different. Even if you are, on a video, you're able to look at the lips and understand, but sometimes it's a bit difficult. I think one of the big challenge, a lot of companies manage to do it, but I think it's challenging, is onboarding new hire when they arrive and remotely. I think this must be incredibly hard in terms of, feeling that you belong to a new company.
Sure.
And a big part of integrating a new person is the networking, at the coffee, having lunch with your colleagues, and you are not able to do that. So I've heard of also stories of people that after 1 month, they quit their companies, their new job, because they didn't fit. They couldn't fit remotely.
So I have met like you guys. We've never met before in person, and I would really like to have that pleasure. And having had this relationship, I can't wait to enlarge upon it and make and be personal and raise a glass with you and just enjoy some personal time. And
it'll happen.
Yeah, someday
it'll
that'll
get there
happen.
eventually.
I think what is really interesting is that it's something that I think I would have never done before. Reach out to people and have a discussion. You connect. You connect on LinkedIn. You exchange a few messages, and that was it. Now, when somebody is reaching out to me on LinkedIn, I say, oh, interesting. Let's have a face-to-face via video conference. Let's have a face-to-face discussion. We talked about personal life, about business, and it's much more interesting. You learn a lot. I mean, I've been learning this past year a lot, despite the whole situation, meeting incredible people virtually. And I hope it will continue, because for me, it's a great improvement in my life.
So now we're going to take a quick break and show some use of video, some commercial messages, but also keep in mind the use of video to communicate to relocatees, to potential clients and customers and service providers. And we'll be right back. And now a word from our co-sponsors. Our programs wouldn't happen without the wonderful support of our advertisers. Here they are.
Something that's really neat is that the Bridge School partners with various organizations to provide learning for their students. For example, we partner with a major ballet company, and we are able to enroll several of their students into our school. So now not only is the student able to participate in a school and have a seamless transition while they're very active in their ballet career, but now they have other dancers that are with them that are doing some of the same courses. So it's almost becoming a camaraderie where they're taking similar courses, they're working together on their ballet, and really being able to form this great partnership with these organizations to provide a needed service. A lot of times there are student athletes who will spend hours and hours at the gym or at the basketball courts, wherever it is. And if they're attending a traditional school, they're in school from 8 to 3. They get a quick snack, and then they're at the gym for 3 to 4 hours in the evening. Coming to us and having that partnership, they're able to break that up throughout the day. They can have a morning practice, get some schooling in, have an afternoon practice, finish their schooling in the evening. So there's that flexibility. And additionally, if there are tournaments or performances, it's fantastic, because if there's a week where they have shows straight through, they can take that week off of learning and then pick back up when they're done. So it offers this great flexibility. And for the program owners of these sports leagues, it is a win-win situation for them, because they see this need. They see this need that their students need to make sure that they are obtaining the grades necessary to be successful adults in our country and in other countries. But it provides them an environment where they can be successful at both.
This episode from the meeting room of Global TV Talk Show is brought to you by
The Bridge School, the accredited international online private school of choice at bridgek12.org.
Porch Light Rental and Destination Services. Reduce your renter lump sum or managed relocation costs. Visit them at porchlightrental.com.
Cube Monk, featuring the world's first smart cube. Track your goods with our advanced GPS system. Welcome to the future of moving and relocation at cubemonk.com.
Primestone Partners, featuring corporate, government, and developer housing solutions, as well as senior-level advisory services. Find them at primestonepartners.com.
And by heirs.com. With our full range of services, we can help design and manage your international relocation. Find us at heirs.com.
Insured Nomads provides protection and peace of mind with health insurance, travel insurance, group, or tailored insurance for the globally mobile. Visit us at insurednomads.com.
And by International Auto Source. We are the vehicle experts for expats, featuring all major brands of automobiles with flexible solutions and financing. On the web at intlauto.com.
Hi, my name is Christine. I'm a nurse from the Philippines, and I got to know IAS through Worldwide Health Staff Solutions. And I want to thank IAS, especially to Matthew, for helping me get my car stress-free, headache-free. And so I just want to show you the car that I got. So it's a RAV4 XLE 2020.
As an expat moving to the USA, relocating is exciting, but it can also be stressful. Getting a car, truck, or SUV for personal transportation is usually a high priority. That's where International Auto Source comes in. We make getting the vehicle you want for your work assignment or academic program easy, so you're ready to drive when you arrive. Our product specialists have helped over 50,000 expatriates with their personal transportation needs, making us the largest international auto retailer in the world. International Auto Source gives you flexible payment options to buy, lease, or rent a vehicle from the world's leading auto brands, arrange financing on a purchase or lease without a U.S. credit history, social security number, or driving record, get full insurance coverage, and get approved easily through our low-rate factory-backed financing programs. And because we're an authorized distributor of the world's leading automotive brands, our no-haggle prices are competitive, and the buying experience is hassle-free. We'll even guarantee your new vehicle will be ready the day you arrive. With over 20 years of experience in the global community, we are the vehicle experts for expats. We are International Auto Source.
Just to give you a little background about myself, up until March 1st this year, our primary revenue generating business unit was live conferences, training, in-person training in different locations, and of course, networking. So during 18 and 19, our company produced over 50 live meetings, some small, some larger. And our audience, live audience, was about 1,500, roughly. And about half of that were corporate in each of the local markets. So the last 3 or 4 meetings that I produced live, last October 31, in 19, was in Toronto, and the Bank of Montreal, BMO, was our host in their corporate suite, and over 100 came, and it was a really great meeting. And then in January, we did San Francisco, and we did San Jose, and in early February, February 13, we produced in LA, Silicon Beach. All the companies from San Francisco area set up offices in LA. So they call it Silicon Beach. And then we did, the last 2 meetings were Feb 25 in New York, Times Square, inside the accounting offices of RSM. And we had over 100 at that meeting. And then 2 days later, Feb 27 in Washington, D.C., where we produced the last live meeting. And that one was on Embassy Row, in a beautiful mansion. And we were quite fortunate. We had NGO people and corporate and some government. And it was a great meeting. And that night I got on the plane from Reagan National Airport to go to San Diego. And it was a big plane. And in addition to me, I think there were like 12 people on the plane. And then you knew something was wrong, for sure. And that was February 27, February 28. And
that was still early.
That was the last meeting. March 1, all of that closed. And so we had our business evaporated like that, cut. And so Paul Johnson and I had been producing radio shows for 10 years, well over 100 broadcasts. And so we decided, well, do you know how to do Zoom? I didn't know anything about it. In fact, I was afraid to sit here and look at this thing, you know. And so we decided, well, let's just try it, you know. So since then, Paul Johnson and I have produced over 60, maybe a lot more. He'll know better than me. I've lost track already. A lot of programs. And in the year upcoming, the objective is to produce over 200. So working on the plan, already taking bookings for January. So it's going to be a very strong communications year for us. And I welcome you guys to come back and participate in other programs as well. Like for instance, January 13, we have a program that's focusing in on global women in leader roles. And Maryann, I certainly invite you. I'll send you the info.
Oh, I'll be there. That's my thing.
Oh, cool.
Great subject.
So, you know, maybe you'd like to come back. There'll be men on the program as well. So, but it's a focus on she, S-H-E, she leaders. and will things be different? You know, how will things be different? Maryann, how do you think, just this is unrehearsed, of course, so off the cuff here, how do you think more women in prominent leader roles throughout industry, big companies, small companies, what are the most prominent things in your mind as you sit here impromptu with me and Stéphane? What will be different?
A lot will be different. I think by nature, men are more competitive and women are more collaborative. Collaborative.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think women in general, I don't want to make too many generalities, but are more compassionate. Not that there are men that aren't compassionate, but I think women are always the touchy-feely thing and men are always the tactical, let's get it done thing, in my experience. So, and there, of course, boundaries cross. But I think I'm very excited about the Biden-Harris administration because I think Kamala is going to be the driving force behind a lot of what Biden gets accomplished. That's just my personal opinion. So we'll see how that plays itself out.
Interesting. Yeah. So that's January 13, starting at 8 a.m. California time.
Okay, great.
All right.
And I should be back in work mode. I'm still.
I'm working on it too. So, Stéphane, what do you think will be different when the women take over?
I've always worked with women around me. I'm working with my wife, which, you know, every time I'm telling people I'm working with my wife, like people are just like, how are you able to do that? I mean, I agree with what you said, Maryann. Of course, it's generality, but women are often more sensitive. I would say I was interviewing someone this morning, and sometimes because of cultural background and you know the society, women have to be much more organized than men. Having to organize like 3 lives, you know, business life, children life, husband, and personal life at home. And this is challenging. What I really think is really interesting now is that women start to accept who they are in the business, because what I've seen in the past is that some of the women acted like men to have their place in the business world, which I think was totally wrong. And nowadays women are women, and they, with their, you know, their way of working, their sensibility and so on. And I think this is great, and it should continue like that.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. Yes, Maryann.
No, I'm agreeing with Stéphane that so many women initially thought they had to be like men to get ahead. Yeah, and that was the driving force. And now I don't know exactly when that playing field changed, but I totally agree with you that women, you're right. You have to be super organized as a woman with all these different silos you're working in: home, family, business, etc. And I think women are actually better at juggling that kind of thing than men, because for men, it's always been about work.
Luckily, it's changing. I mean, I have
Yeah.
grown-up children. They have girlfriends, and you know, the workload at home is shared, and you know, they are sharing everything. So the new generation is totally different. Of course,
Yeah, I agree.
You have exceptions. You might have some countries that it's going to take longer than in others because of the power of the culture and you know, the traditions. But luckily, things are changing.
Mm-hmm.
Fascinating conversation. Thank you for doing this impromptu. So I welcome you to come back to Global TV Talk Show. I've really enjoyed meeting you, Stéphane. This is the first time we've done this. Maryann, I think this is your third time on the show already, and I welcome you to come back all the time.
I love these, broadening, expanding my horizons. And Ed, you and I have actually met in person.
Oh.
It was about let me see. You know William Taylor, right? We met Taylor. You had some conference going on, and I was working with him at the time. We were both working, and he invited me to your conference.
Were you at Adobe? I didn't quite hear that.
No, Fakori Global. It was an immigration.
Oh yes, right. That's about.
And the meeting was at Wells Fargo down on Montgomery Street.
Yeah, right. I remember that. Yeah.
Small world.
Yeah, very small
world, especially San Francisco.
Thank you for correcting me. Thank you.
No, it's okay.
Yeah. Okay. So let's.
Wait, I have a question for Stéphane. Stéphane, what's the name of your business? Since I tuned in late.
It's called Lux Relo.
Oh, Lux Relo. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, a mix of luxury, Luxembourg, and relocation.
I like that.
So Stéphane, why don't you just use the chat thing on the bottom there and just shoot Maryann a quick type message with your website or email. Yeah. Okay. And cool. So and you have to do it now, because when we sign off, that's going to disappear.
Right, but I can find him on LinkedIn, and I can connect on LinkedIn.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Compain is Compain. Compain.
I'll find him.
Yeah, that's great. So Stéphane, thanks so much for following and commenting on stuff that you see that I'm posting on LinkedIn. And this is how we met, and this is a first time, hopefully for many times, and I welcome you. So with AGS, just so you know, Andy Elliman and I are friendly.
It's a good friend of mine as well. I used to work with him in a previous company.
Yeah, cool. And so he's going to be our guest for the umpteenth time coming up. As you know, he's practicing. So here's a guy, Maryann, that he's, I don't know if he's 50 yet, but he's climbed Mount Everest at least once and survived.
Oh my God.
And
that's a feat.
Yeah, big feat, and a lot of steps, but more so, he says, I'm going to teach myself, learn how to swim. And
I've heard the story directly from him. So basically, he decided, because he wants to raise funds to help, you know, villages in the in Tibet and so on, and he loves to set up some challenges, and he decided that he would cross the channel swimming. But when he decided to do that, it was supposed to be last summer, but because of COVID, he couldn't do it. So it has been postponed. But the thing is that 1 year ago, when he started the project, he didn't know how to swim.
And he's swimming the English Channel. What's this guy's name? An inspiration.
Andrew Elliman, and he's been training since I think summer 2019. So started to learn how to get into the water and not to be afraid. Have his first strokes, and and then training every morning before going to work, training during the weekend, then going into the in open waters. And what he did, because of the COVID, he couldn't swim across the channel. He set up a swimming pool in his garden, an inflatable one, with a string tied around his waist.
Yeah.
And he just swam the equivalent of the channel in a small swimming pool. He's just
That's amazing.
He's amazing.
That is really amazing.
Yeah, so he's cool. And in fact, he spoke at the last live meetings I produced in London and Paris. And this is like 2 years ago. And so then we transferred our relationship to video. So, hey, this is a cool and very small world, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Wow, thanks for putting that in the link there. I will read that later. That looks really great.
Yeah, read it now, because when we sign off, that will shut down.
No, I'm going to save the chat. Do you know how to save the chat, Ed?
No.
Where it says file, you can save the chat.
Oh, cool.
And then I got it, and I can do it later.
All right,
good. I
I
have to go to work. So great to meet you guys. Happy New Year. See you next
New
week.
Year.
Thank you for joining us in the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show.
Have a wonderful day, and stay safe.